Oh wow, this thing starts to pick up speed mid-range. Oh my God. Hey guys, Matt here with Juice Joyrides, and today we have the Lyric Cycle Graffiti. So I've been out here on the bike path here in Santa Monica on this thing for about almost 10 miles now. We're at 9.5 miles. So in the next few minutes here, we're gonna ride on down towards Venice, and I'm gonna tell you everything I've learned about this bike along the way, what I like about it and what I don't like about it. And along the way, I will give you a top speed test, an acceleration test, a hill climb test, as well as a brake test. So join me for a ride on the Graffiti and I'll tell you all about it along the way. So hopping on this bike, first thing you're gonna notice is the thumb throttle is on your right and it's got a lot of power. So this is a 2,500 watt nominal motor with a peak output of 4,700 watts. And let me tell you, this thing moves. So I know what you want to know. You want to know what's the top speed of this bike. So I'll go ahead and splice in a clip of my top speed run earlier here now. All right, here's an acceleration test and top speed test on the Lyric Cycles Graffiti. I weigh 195 pounds, so your acceleration will be faster if you weigh less than me. Anyway, starting from zero, full thumb throttle and ready, go. So it doesn't have like a huge jump off the line, but that speed acceleration starts to really ramp up. Oh wow. 30, 34, 35, 36. And I'm feeling the wind, 37. So it's topping out about 37 for me. So the bike that I'm on is actually a prototype. This is not like the final version of the bike. You can click the link below this video in the description box and see all the exact specs of how the final version will be. And also Lyric Cycle hooked me up with a discount code for you guys. So if you're interested in purchasing it, you can get a little discount, a little extra discount by using my code below this video. So as I've been riding this bike along the bike path here, it's actually a very comfortable bike. I really like the riding geometry of it. These riser style, BMX style handlebars really kind of just put you in a very relaxed, upright riding position. It's a comfortable bike to sit on. And one thing that's not excellent about it, and something you just can't overlook, is this is not a full suspension bike. There's not rear suspension on it. So that ride is gonna be a little bit more harsh than some of the bikes that do come with rear suspension. However, overall, in general, like it does have a very padded seat and it's a wide seat. And I do find this bike to be comfortable. It does have adjustable front suspension. So there is adjustments on the right that you can adjust how firm or soft it is. And as we go underneath the Santa Monica Pier, let me show you how bright this headlight is. It's quite a beefy headlight. And well, it's actually kind of light out still, so you can't really tell. So beyond just the thumb throttle on the right, you also get another thumb throttle on the left, and that is your regenerative brake lever. So it's a progressive regen brake lever, and it will actually allow you to put juice back in the battery by, instead of using your friction brakes, you get the regen. So that's awesome. I'm gonna give a little demo of the regen brake. I'll just press it. I'll press it in all the way, like right now. So it's like bringing the bike to a stop. I think the ratio, it really kicks in a lot harder once you get going slower. And speaking of brakes, this bike does have 4-piston hydraulic brakes, and I gotta tell you, they're excellent, but let me give you a little brake test demo to show you how good they are. All right, we're gonna do a brake test on the Lyric Cycles Graffiti. I'm just gonna estimate about 20 miles an hour because the speedometer doesn't work. These brakes are great though. Oh yeah, I'm like literally afraid to pull the brake lever too hard because it might throw me over the front. The left brake is front brake. It can lock up the front tires, so you have to be careful with these ones. You really can't ask for any more braking power than this bike has to offer. From about 20-ish, without locking up and going over the handlebars. Yeah, these brakes are really, really good on this bike. So I've done a lot of reviews on all kind of bikes, and the brakes on this bike are excellent. How much power they give you, how much braking power they give you in relation to how heavy this bike is really, really good. So let's talk about the battery. It is a 52 volt system, and when you buy this bike, you can choose to either get one battery or two batteries. Obviously, the other one would just go right here. It is a 17.5 amp hour battery, so you get 910 watt hours of energy per battery. So how much range are you gonna get out of that battery? Well, you know, it really just depends on how you ride it. Everybody knows, you know, if you're really using all that power, it's gonna drain the battery a lot faster. But long story short, this bike is gonna have awesome range, especially if you get the dual battery setup on this thing. I mean, you're talking about 1,800 watt hours of energy in that battery pack, or battery packs, I should say. So let's talk about the acceleration of this bike and how well it does climbing hills. So when I put it on a really steep hill and accelerated from the bottom at, you know, starting from zero, it didn't really like to climb the hill from zero on a super steep hill. I'll show you what that hill climb test looks like here. All right, going to do the hill test on the Lyric Cycles Graffiti. We're gonna do wide open throttle, max settings, ready, go. From a stop, what kind of torque does this bike have? It's got enough-ish to do it. Actually, a little bit of pedal assistance is actually needed on this thing to get it up the hill. And that's off-road mode, maximum charge, 100% charge. But I also did a long gradual incline, the California incline with this bike, and let me show you what that hill climb test looked like here. So we're gonna do a long gradual incline hill test on this bike, the California incline right there. So let's go there now. I weigh 195 pounds. I've been out here for almost 9 miles, and the battery is at 52.8 volts. So that would be, what, about 50% or more, maybe a little more. Anyway, we're gonna do full throttle and see how this bike does. From a standstill, GPS here, ready, go. So it's gonna be able to do the California incline, no problem. Yeah, I mean, it's gaining, it's picking up speed going up this hill. So yeah, no problem with a gradual incline. Hitting 30, basically 30 miles an hour, and still feels like it's gaining speed a little bit. Yeah, we basically just went from all the way down there at the beach up this long incline. So as long as the hill is not too steep and you're not starting from a stop, I mean, this bike has a lot of power. So in general, the way the motor and controller is set up on this bike, I find that this bike tends to have a very good mid-range. So like, when you start from a stop, it tends to kind of ease on that power. And then after you get up to about 10 or so, it feels like you got a turbocharger almost. Like it starts to like ramp up your acceleration, and you accelerate at an accelerating rate basically. So from like 10 to like 30 or so, that's where this bike's happy zone is. And I gotta tell you, the handling on this bike feels actually really good with these shorter tires. They are like 4-inch wide tires. And you know, we can probably pop off in the sand here and kind of like ride on the sand a little bit. Oh yeah, it'll ride on the sand just fine actually. Yeah, but the 4-inch wide tires definitely allow you to ride on sand. And since they're shorter, it makes it like more nimble too. Going around these like tight twisties, the battery is not mounted like too high up. Like some of these bikes, oh, we got the fenders on there to protect us from the water too, which is always nice. Oh, getting a little slippy there on the sand. So this is a demo bike, and these tires are definitely worn in a little bit. So another cool thing about this bike is it actually is set up to have a passenger. It has foot pegs back here to carry a passenger, and the max load I believe is 350 pounds. Something I've kind of been doing with these is just kind of using them to like stand on and like pop wheelies a little bit. Probably gonna end up looping this bike out and hurting myself doing this, but it's actually a lot of fun. Because it really, you know, it shifts your weight to the back. All right, I don't want to do this too much. I just kind of wanted to show you that it can be done. So this bike does come equipped with a belt drive. It is a single speed bike. And there's no pedal assist on this model. I don't know if they're gonna have pedal assist on the final version of it. Again, check the link below. But really, I like that they just didn't even bother putting gears on this bike, because like, I mean, who pedals these things anyway? Like, these are they're meant to just use the thumb throttle, really. That's what this bike is all about, using that thumb throttle and feeling that mid-range acceleration. So I know one of the concerns that people have with this bike is not having that rear suspension. But as I've been riding this thing, you know, the seat I feel like on this bike is wide enough and squishy enough that it really helps minimize the impact of the bumps you're going over. And then also it does have front suspension, so that helps as well. And then another thing to kind of help with the cushion and stuff on this bike, I reduced the air pressure in the rear tire. So it says run it at 30 PSI max. I dropped it down to 20. You could probably drop it down even lower for, a more supple ride. Now, this bike does have the Egg Rider display on it. I think the final version is going to have like a color display, so you'll get a different display than what I have on here. And there's 2 modes. Like, I have it on the off-road mode, so like all the power is unlocked and unlimited, and we can have full access to all that power, but you can also put it into like a street legal mode as well. So having those pedals on there, I mean, honestly, you're probably not going to be using them at all, or very little if you do use them. But having them there does make this bike, fit in more and look like a bicycle, and like a street legal bicycle. But under the radar, you got more power than is actually probably legal in most places. So if you go with the 1 battery setup on this bike, it is $3,099, and if you add the second battery, it increases the price by 500 bucks. So I guess the question you need to ask yourself is, do you need that extra range or not? Personally, if I was gonna buy this bike, I would go ahead and definitely add on that extra battery. Doubling your range, that's gonna be significant. Like, you're gonna be able to go so much faster, so much farther. I mean, I'm already just smoking by everybody anyway, but it really doesn't add like a ton of weight. I wanna say each battery is like right around 9 pounds. And in general, this bike really doesn't feel that heavy. Dude, this thing freaking flies though. I'm having a blast on this bike today. So let's head on back and see how much range, or like what voltage this battery is when I get back home. And I have not been pedaling this thing at all. So to address the important questions, can it do a wheelie? Well, the question is really, can I do a wheelie? It's fun to try. I think I could figure this out if I had enough time on the bike. About looped it. It's hard because the throttle and the back brake are on the same side. Dude, this thing can just ride with traffic because it can go so fast. Or you could just kind of cut across, take the shortcut. Pretty nimble bike, really. Okay, I want to tell you guys what kind of range I got out of this bike today. So it says 17.3 miles. I'd probably actually add about 1 more mile onto that because I didn't start this thing right away. So probably just over 18 miles. And the battery is showing, well, shoot, it's the Egg Rider. You can never see these things. 48.9 volts. And according to the 52 volt chart here, 48.9 right there. This is a 52 volt conversion chart for percentage. Comes out to about 30% on the battery. And okay, so I weigh 195 pounds and I have been putting this thing through the ringer today. I've been doing basically, no pedaling, and I've been doing like a lot of acceleration tests, a lot of hill climb tests, a lot of like hard braking, coming to a stop and then accelerating. So, I mean, I've been pretty much putting this thing under about the harshest riding conditions, the least range you would probably ever get out of this bike. And that is with 1 battery. So if you add the second battery, I think a lot of people are going to be riding these things similar to what I did today, just hooning pretty much. If I were going to be getting this bike, I'd be getting the second battery as well, because I just love the range and the increased performance over You know, just like more performance for longer. So how does the bike perform once it gets down to 30%? I mean, it still picks up speed. It still moves pretty quickly. So I had an absolute blast reviewing the Lyric Cycles Graffiti. If you have decided this is the bike for you, you can save a little extra money off your order by clicking the link below this video in the description box and using my discount code, and that would also help support my channel. However, if this is not enough e-bike for you, I will be reviewing the Lyric Cycles Voodoo and the Voodoo Ghost 305. And if that video is posted, you can click here now to watch it. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in my next video.